This is Listen Lakeland, the show that keeps you up to date on all the things that make our city a great place to live, work, and play. Today's host is the Executive Director at Lakeland Now, a community-supported local news organization dedicated to cultivating civic engagement in Lakeland through freely accessible, locally driven news. She's a graduate of George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and serves on the boards of Lakeland Vision and Friends of Polk Creek State Park. Here's your host, Trinity Laurino.
Welcome to the good life.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Trinity Laurino, and it's great to be hosting this month's episode of Listen Lakeland. This show is an extension of Lakeland Vision. For over 2 decades, Lakeland Vision has been a voice for the citizens of Lakeland, working with community stakeholders to create a bright future for our city. So today on Listen Lakeland, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Anna Wood-Rogers and David Bunch to the program. Anna is a sought-after speaker who is known for her visionary leadership, challenging the status quo, and creating lasting community impacts locally and abroad. She holds a master's degree in internal business from University of Miami and executive certifications from top universities. In Polk County, she developed a 150-year solid waste framework, built up to $180 million in reserves, and kept the fees among the lowest in the state. And her very good friend and mine, David Bunch, is also here with us today. And David has 6 decades of experience in industrial real estate. He's guided the development of corporate parks and siting of more than 1,200 businesses and assembled properties for projects from George Jenkins High School to Bonnet Springs Park. David's active in civic life and continues working and envisioning Lakeland and Polk County's future. And that's really what we're here to talk about today, the vision for Lakeland and, by extension, Polk County. So welcome to you both, David and Anna.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's nice to be here.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you especially to Anna, who just flew in, yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday from El Salvador. So thank you so much. So first question for you guys. You've both referred to Lakeland as what you call a textbook city. What do you mean by that?
I'll start that one.
Okay.
I've been doing this, as you said, for 6 decades.
6 decades.
That sounds longer than 60 years. But anyway, I've used that catchphrase that entire time. And talking to new businesses and people, those 1,200 businesses, you have to sell Lakeland. And so that's one of the sales tools. It is a textbook city. If just describing the word textbook, it's a guide, it's a recipe, it's how you do a particular thing. And we count on textbooks. Lakeland, to me, is a textbook. If you want to build a city, you would look at Lakeland and say, okay, what did you do to get here, or what should we do? And you'll find that a textbook city has the amenities that Lakeland has. It's a medical center. It's a college town, 5 colleges. It's got infrastructure that people have been building and adding to forever. And it can support anything that it wants to do. It's got that kind of infrastructure. It's a well-functioning city, government-wise. It's unusual in that the core area of our city, beautiful as it is, radiates out in all directions. It's not growing away from the downtown. And so that's unusual, a town that grows equally in all directions, because we have anchors and roads, and it's just a good happenstance that we have a growth pattern like that our downtown then stays strong. You have to interface with it all the time.
Yeah.
So all those things just add up to what I think is textbook. People will look at Lakeland and say, I want to be like that. What do you do?
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say, obviously growth has been such a big and kind of contentious issue here. How does Lakeland grow, and how does Lakeland support the growing, or how does Lakeland's infrastructure support the growing population here? So how do you think that sort of factors into that textbook city? And, you've talked a lot, both of you, obviously, about this like 100-year vision. So what do you think? I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but we already got into it. So let's just get into it. What do you think are like the key things for Lakeland to keep at the forefront as we navigate this growth that we've been experiencing and thinking about the next 100 years?
The textbook, following and what David is saying, for my industry, for us, is the location of Polk County. When I first came to Polk County over 27 years ago, its location is just perfect. You have, two main airports, infrastructure. From a solid waste standpoint, you have quite a bit of land, so not too many counties in the state of Florida, 67 of them, don't have the luxury that Polk County has when it comes to having a 150-year plan to manage solid waste, and specifically in the area that it is. It doesn't encroach into any neighborhoods. Is perfect location of the Parkway. So from that standpoint, it is a textbook for us as well. Its location, the infrastructure, and the opportunity for growth, like you are saying. Back in 27 years when I came, the population was 425,000 residents, and look at it now. So it's at the heart of the state.
425,000 in Polk County.
In Polk County.
And
that
now
was
we're over
800 over, yes, and yes.
And expected to get to 1 million.
Yeah, yes, David is going to address a little bit more of that, but yes.
Yeah.
So the potential has always been there. I saw it, especially having traveled to many countries and seeing that growth. Polk County had everything perfectly to be an exceptional city, and we're still developing into that. But from the textbook point of view, like David mentioned, that was, has been critical for us as well.
Now, you were really, Anna, instrumental. The 150-year waste plan was kind of your, can I say baby?
Yes.
This is really your baby. How does a project like that come about?
Well, first of all, because the location, and because we know that we will grow, like I said to you, once you travel, I came from South Florida, 2 million people. So to me, 425, we knew that we were going to grow. And we are producers of solid waste. And one of the areas that we emphasize is to ensure that we add value to the communities and not take away. So it is essential for governments to think long-term in how you are going to manage this asset. And when we talk with David about 150 years or 100 years, we're not creating a concrete plan, but we're creating a vision and providing future decision makers the ability to make the right decision for your area. So when you have that as your guiding principle, how can we make it better? What can we do not to pressure or put boundaries into the future, but to have that fluidity in the planning is what allows us to plan long term. Because you could not plan long term if you have barriers or if you put walls in your thinking. It has to be very fluid with the end result of what would you like to accomplish. And in my case, was to ensure that Polk County had the option to manage its own solid waste in a way that was environmentally responsible without relying on exporting waste and cost, ensuring that they will have the ability to control costs. So those funds or those monies can be allocated to something else.
So David, I want to go over to you. Back to this question of what do you think with this growing population that we have here in Polk County, what do you think are kind of the biggest challenges that are facing Lakeland specifically, but then also like the county as a whole?
Before I answer that, may I comment further on what Anna was saying?
Yeah.
We need to remember that we are standing on the shoulders of a lot of people who came 100 years ago. Somebody in Lakeland thought we ought to own our hospital look at it now. Someone thought we ought to own our electric generating power plant, which we do, and it's been a tremendous asset to the city and its growth and its economy. And Anna is one of the shoulders that are going to be stood on in her 100-year plan for the solid waste. And so we do need to keep in mind this relative shortness of time of 100 years. That's one long lifetime that we need to be. We can't tell what it's going to be, nor can we plan.
Yeah.
But we can ask ourselves a simple question: what's it going to look like in 100 years?
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I was just doing research on the city charters for a piece that we put into our voter guide, just going back into like the 1913 city charter, and then it was redone in 1919. And so a little over 100 years old right now. But it's in 1919 that you start to see, I believe, I'd have to look at my own research to know for sure, but I think it's in the 1919 that you actually start to see the city charter include information about the municipally owned electric company, because Lakeland was actually one of the first, I think, in the whole state to have electricity.
Well, we just the point in lifting that up is just to remind people today that how it's going to look in 100 years depends on what we're doing today. If we ignore responsibilities, long-term thinking, what's it going to look like, what are our needs, then it's just not going to be as good 100 years from now as if we do our part today, and we can never forget that. Now, your question was about
the challenges.
Yes.
I'm for them. I'm in favor of them.
You're in favor of the challenges?
Yes. Well, one of the things David and I have actually been talking about pretty much since we met 25 plus years ago, that is intriguing to me is I have traveled every corner of this county. All 17 municipalities, I have met with the elected officials to establish relationships about solid waste. So one of the interesting things is how Polk County is segregated, how we have, I used to say to people, it looks like Swiss cheese when you hold it up with all these little municipalities and the resources available. So one of the things that David and I have talked for years is to look and see and start planting the seed and asking the question, do we need 17 municipalities? Can we actually operate better as a county by incorporating resources? Because for every town we have, it requires talent to run it. And when you have a town that it doesn't have enough resources, it cannot attract the type of talent to prevent challenges and to plan for 100 years and beyond that. So that's one of the areas that I believe Polk County needs to look beyond what we see. I like to use the past, respect the past, but also to propel us to a better future. And I believe that Polk County, the way it's growing, the way it's developing, we need to have a better vision and a management team that can understand and incorporate changes that will benefit all, Polk County as a whole. Obviously, the city of Lakeland is the largest city in the county and with the most population, resources. But we also have municipalities that do not have that opportunity to become and to grow into the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So how do we plan that future and how do we incorporate all these areas? And David and I have had many good debates on this issue.
So go ahead, David.
That, of course, opens the answer to your question about challenge to the city. And by the way, when Anna and I talk about there are too many cities, we're not thinking in terms of Jacksonville, who did away with all their cities and became one city. That's not going to happen here, nor should it. But there are some thoughts that ought to be lifted up as to, is the way we're doing it effective? challenge I see to Lakeland and to Polk County, and I think it's the biggest challenge. Now, all of the cities everywhere have challenges of water and traffic and all those things that we know we've got. And I think Lakeland's in better shape than most relative to infrastructure. But the big challenge to me on this county, and I think it will keep this county from achieving what it can or could or should, is the fact that it's made up of 17 municipalities and the county government. And that's all clustered in the center of it's a big county, but all the activities in the middle, because you've got the Green Swamp and the Bombing Range and the Phosphate area in the periphery. So all of this 17 towns that have been operating okay at 1.5% growth rates or one, but now and they had plenty of land around it. It wasn't a concern. Now those cities are touching. From Fort Meade to Haines City are contiguous against each other now, or almost, and that's going to stay that way. But we're growing at 3%. So all of a sudden things have changed. And you cannot expect a different outcome if you don't make a change and address what's going on. Where are we in the scheme of things? And so Lakeland, of course, is the lead city. But I look at this accumulation of cities growing together in a tight area as that now are 877,000 population, plus or minus, growing at 2.5% to 3%. Means that in 5 years, it's 1 million plus people.
Yeah.
That, to me, is like having a city of 1 million people with 18 boroughs or 18 autonomous operating units. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so we need to be talking about this and thinking about, is there a better way for these 17 towns to function, or should they be in? What is the plan? And maybe you keep them all in, but you come up with buffers or somehow, but some kind of discussions, or these cities that are touching, Winnehaven, Eagle Lake, Bartow. What's Eagle Lake's position in that scenario? And then you've got other clusters of towns, 2 or 3 at a time. They need to be talking to each other.
That was going to be my next question. Do you see enough? I mean, it sounds like you don't, but do you see coordination between the mayors and the leaderships of these smaller cities? Do you think we could be served by a kind of council of mayors? Does that happen already?
I think it's happening. Every time I say the cities aren't communicating well, I'll get told, yes, we have a meeting every month or every 6 months we get together. But I've, in 60 years, never heard any results of a correspondence between Lakeland and Mulberry. So I don't think it's a meaningful coordination.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure as a commercial developer, you've seen that there can be competing interests between municipalities. And
it's just starting. I could cite you examples already of towns that are taking advantage of another one or ignoring the rights of another one. This morning's paper, it's not cities, it's counties on the water districts now fussing over Alafire River. And that's just going to compound as these towns grow and they compete for land and utilities. And I just think we're making a serious mistake not to be given this top priority.
And also the shared vision, because I believe that is also Polk County doesn't have an identity that you can define culturally or something tangible. And so you have all these different looks, so to speak, which is healthy, can be very healthy if you have a shared vision of what you would like your hometown to look like. How can we work together?
There's a town in Michigan, a county, I wish I could think of it, that's got some real challenges on who's immigrating in there and really taking over that city. But the manager has come up with something called, in here would be called One Polk. And that doesn't mean one city, but it means, as Anna is saying, one culture or several cultures that you can identify, and we're all struggling. Is it beauty? Is it conservation? Is it art? What is it? What is your common culture that you can all be working toward?
One of the things I find really interesting about Polk County, one, it's a very large land mass.
2,080 square miles.
Yeah, a sort of an hour in any direction for the most part.
Some of the areas are not that populated, though, that is.
But it's interesting that Lakeland, as the lead city, is kind of tucked over on the edge. It's not central to it. So I find it really interesting that I feel like, as you talk about the culture of the county, it changes dramatically when you go from east to west, and so you have essentially, on the east side, you have what are kind of bedroom communities in some ways to Orlando. You have a lot of Disney employees over there. You have Point Siena, you have a large, Hispanic population on that side. And then you also have a lot of like citrus industry on that side, or the remnants of citrus industry on that side.
Yes. When we talk about culture, though, let me rephrase what I'm saying. For instance, what are the underlying shared vision? For instance, do we want a city or a county that promotes pedestrian mobility?
Yeah.
Would you like to have arts, green areas? How do we move people from one area to the other?
Yeah.
Those kind of underlying is not so much that you will have a specific culture, or it can be a neighborhood, like you're saying, bedroom neighborhood in the Northeast, but it shares that kind of vision where you have over bypasses.
Yeah.
You have all these things to promote pedestrian mobility.
So I want to talk a little bit. I want to give David some time to talk about, because David, you've been one of those people who's always been able to seemingly kind of thread the needle and solve the intractable problems that other people couldn't solve. You helped find the pathway for Polk Parkway when no one could find the pathway for that. You found the land for George Jenkins High School when, they said that was impossible. So you have another somewhat impossible project that you would love to see, or a project that people think is impossible that you would love to see the city tackle? Do you want to talk a little bit about the overpass?
Yes, I do, and yes, I would.
Okay, that's right.
There are a number of things that once your mind gets in gear on this kind of stuff, it doesn't go away. You keep looking and thinking. And there's one thing in particular that has bothered me for years, and particularly since Bonnet Springs Park was built. Which
was another project you were instrumental in.
Well, that's, I don't know how to say thank you enough for that one. But there's a little bridge that goes under the railroad track at Sloan Avenue near the entrance to Bonnet Springs Park. It's been there for 100 years. It's a railroad bridge. And if you look at, I mentioned Lakeland's growing and radiating out in equal directions. Well, let's just take the two west quadrants, the northeast and the northwest and the southwest, is half the city, west of Florida Avenue. If you ran a railroad track, and we do, from downtown to Wabash Avenue, out where Publix headquarters were and are, there's 2 miles. And there's no place in that entire track where you can walk across the tracks. You do it crossing over tracks.
Yeah.
There's one place, the little bridge under Sloan Avenue, now known as Bonnet Springs Boulevard at Lake Beulah. Just barely wide enough for 2 cars.
Yeah.
Certainly not wide enough for a pedestrian, but yet it's being used by pedestrians and kids on bicycles and people in wheelchairs. I mean, it's amazing and totally unacceptable that this city has half of its presence bifurcated with an uncrossable, and then the one place you can cross it in a car is inadequate. And this is a 100-year-old bridge. Assume it's structurally okay, but I don't know that. But it's an unacceptable situation, and especially since Bonnet Springs is built, because Bonnet Springs Park is a 168-acre central park.
Yes. Yeah.
The best,
It's beautiful.
the best in the United States this year, anyway.
Yeah.
And yet, it's an urban city, beautifully, but you cannot walk to it.
No.
You have to drive your car to the Central Urban Park in Lakeland, Florida. Unacceptable. So that bridge needs to be rebuilt. It needs to be taller for trucks to get under. It needs to be wider for bikes and people and cars. And it's totally doable. The challenge to it is it's a CSX mainline railroad for Amtrak and freight. And there's no way you can shut that down for months while it's rebuilt under normal. So I was wondering, okay, how is this going to happen with that kind of constraint? You can't build a bypass track there. There's no room. So I began looking around, and I found a situation in the Netherlands where something was done in a weekend. A tunnel was built across a 4-lane highway. I said, well, now that's interesting, and why can't that be done here? And I thought I was inventing something, and I come to find out already in this country, something called ABC, Accelerated Bridge Construction, is going on where railroad bridges are replaced in a weekend, Thursday night to Monday morning. The old bridge goes away, the new bridge is in place, and the trucks and cars are running and trains Monday morning. And it's ABC, it's an acknowledged way to do it. And it saves shutting roads down for months. And the cost is a little higher maybe, but you get savings on the other end of not disrupting for so long. What you do is you build this concrete railroad bridge beside this entrance, this railroad crossing. There's room to do that. It takes almost a year of preparation and logistics to get ready to do it in a weekend. But you do it. And I have a time-lapse movie showing one in England being built just exactly like ours. So that needs to, there's a solution to a problem. The other part being the money.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a $16 to $20 million effort. We spend that kind of money all the time. We're spending $20 million on 2 projects in Lakeland right now. Planned a bike trail across the railroad and a garbage transfer stations. There's $22 million. So the money
is there.
And then are we spending that? Is that the best way to spend it, or is there another way, or is there another source? There are.
So
grants.
would that fall to the city commission to approve that kind of
Oh, yes.
project?
Well,
or
you
does
first
CSX
go
have to?
Whose bridge is it? So
CSX.
I went all the way back to 1929 and found out who built this bridge. And there were 2 bridges built at the same time. And the city participated, and DOT and ACL Railroad. So it belongs to everybody. I just wanted to be sure nobody could say, not my bridge. So it's just a function of people getting together. Like Bonnet Springs Park. Here was a situation that was unacceptable at 150 acres in the middle of the city, and we don't have a park. So you put together first. My other mantra in life is first you have to want to do it. After that, there's nothing to it. And that's what needs to happen here. People need to understand this is an unacceptable situation. And 2, there is a solution to it. There is an issue, money.
Well, I think that is an excellent place to an excellent point to end on today. Although I will say, if you like David's idea, maybe it's worth sending an email to the city commission about replacing the overpass. Because I do think when we talk about 100-year plans and visions, opening that underpass is a chokehold. It's, and it's an important throughway to our beautiful, beautiful Bonnet Springs.
And there's one other thing. We can do this, and the city needs that kind of encouragement.
In the 17 municipalities overlooking at that as well.
Yes, yeah. So a lot to talk about here today, a lot to think about for the future, not just of Lakeland, of Polk County. So I want to thank you both so much for joining me today. And thank you to all of our listeners who are tuning in to Listen Lakeland. Your feedback is valued, and we encourage you to head over to www.lakelandvision.org to participate in our monthly survey related to today's show topic.
I said, welcome to the good life.
Listen Lakeland is brought to you as a collaborative project between Lakeland Vision, the City of Lakeland, and Hall Communications, a community working together to provide an exceptional quality of life. Want to watch the show? Check out the video version at lakelandvision.org.